I design my own 3D printable models, and at most I can produce one model a month, which feels like it's super slow. On social media, I see people designing models like every week or even every day, which is actually crazy. But today I want to challenge myself and design 4 models in a month and see if I can improve my workflow to be more efficient. I want to design 4 different models in a month. I'm still trying to figure out what I should model, and I have no idea how long it's going to take, but it's better to start sketching some ideas in Blender. To start my design, I first try to create some cool but simple objects. Since I don't know what I'm going to model yet, it might be a good idea to sketch some objects and play around with different shapes. And I have been quite intrigued by these vase shapes that you see online quite often. I have actually never tried to model these kind of models myself, but I think they won't be that hard to model. After all, I have seen so many different tutorials on how to make these kind of shapes, so it's about time that I would try to learn and master this skill for myself. Basically what I have done here is just to make a cylinder, turn the squares into diamond shapes and twist the model a bit with modifiers. Since I'm still trying to figure out what kind of models would look good, I'm only sketching the rough outline and not really finishing these models. And even though it looks like I'm doing some vase models, I plan on doing something different. Once I'm happy with the design and shape, I plan on turning this into some kind of box or container. But I'm having really tough time on choosing the right shape for my box design. After selecting the shape that I was happy with, it was time to start modeling the container. Basically, I'm just using the cylinder model and splitting in 2 parts. And the top part will be converted to a lid by duplicating the bottom part surface and tweaking it a bit. I'm not all that experienced on modeling in Blender, so this is also a good exercise on making these kind of pretty simple models. I'm also trying to avoid completely round surfaces since 3D printers are not that good on printing shapes like balls, so I usually just cut off the top end to make it more flat. With that, the first model is done, but I don't plan on stopping here. My next idea was a pretty wild one. I wanted to make a container that is made out of balls. I don't know how I got this idea, but it's pretty simple to do. You just distribute balls into the faces with geometry nodes. Then I use a boolean cutter to hollow out the inside. This modeling technique might not be the best one, but it's fast and efficient, and I think that is all that matters. It will be good enough for 3D printing. Then I also round up the bottom a bit so it will be easier to 3D print this. And finish up the model by adding a cylinder shape to the middle. I kind of hate how messy this model looks, but I don't have skills to do any better. Then I spent a couple more hours refining the models which I didn't record. The first models are starting to look pretty nice, and it only took like a couple of days to make these. I still need to 3D print these and see how they turn out. The first models are done. I feel they are pretty simple, but at the same time quite elegant. My first model was this spiral jar with the drop-down lid, but this felt like why not just do a more functional version with threads. So that's what I did for the next version and the bubble jar version. And I also made an alternative lid for the bubble jar. I definitely don't think these designs are all that unique. You see these kinds of designs quite often on social media, and it seems they are pretty easy to design as well. So let's start modeling the next ideas. In 3 days I managed to do a couple of stylized containers. It's a good start, and I still have 27 days to come up with 3 unique designs. I returned to Blender while thinking about my latest designs. I felt like I still want to push this design a bit further. I played around with different shapes and colors and felt like I was getting close to getting a perfect design. I chose 2 of my favorite designs for 3D printing. I wanted to see if the concept worked as well in real life. I 3D printed a couple of these pencil holders and I really like how they turned out. I probably should focus more on these simple shapes since they look really nice, but most of the time I tend to overcomplicate things. I don't quite understand what it is, but just adding a little bit of shape adds so much to this model. I still feel like I'm stuck in doing pretty simple designs And I want to try to design something a bit more unique. I already have this spinning table model. Perhaps I could use this model as a base and design something unique. After all, if I want to be fast, it should be okay to use existing models and improve them. Day 5 and I'm already moving to the third model. I guess you might think this is a bit of cheating since these models are really similar to each other, but I promise you the third model will be unique, and I have a plan for it. I plan on making this kind of tree organizer. I had a vision that this would look really good, but it turns out this might not be as simple to make as you would think. The first idea of this model was to use existing components and make a modular system based on that. I wanted to have a system where you could customize the organizer a bit and attach different modules using these simple plate attaching mechanism. There was just this one small problem that I did not think of. The weight distribution of the model was completely off. The pivot point from center of mass was so off that the model came as wobbly as hell. This should have been a pretty obvious problem from the start, but I just could not think of this before starting this design. I tried a couple of different fixes for this issue, but it's pretty hard to defy physics. Yeah, this design is not going that well. I have some major issues with the weight distribution. In hindsight, this was probably pretty obvious problem. And I'm not exactly sure how I should fix this. Oh well. I spent so many days thinking about this problem, and soon it was day 25. I knew I was running out of time, and I just had to go for it. This was my last attempt on making a successful model out of this ridiculous idea. The basic idea of the model still remained the same. I tried to fix the weight issue by adding some support on the bottom layer and making the shape a bit different. The pivot point should be a bit closer to the center of mass. All the different parts are attached together using this buckle-like part, which I call H-link, since it looks like letter H. And I decided to make this storage solution 3 stories high. You could add more if you wanted to, but I think not pushing this design too far is a good idea. At this point, I already know I won't be able to finish the fourth model. This will be my last attempt, whether it succeeds or fails. And I'm still not sure how I should approach designing things. If you have a unique idea, it will take time to develop it into something great. Copying other people's ideas seems so easy and simple, but I don't think it's a road that I want to take. It's probably a good idea to learn from other people's work and implement the good solutions to your own ideas. I still have the bad habit of trying to brute force my own ideas to work instead of planning things out properly. Anyway, the model is slowly starting to come together. All that is left to do is put the baskets in their place and see how well the model holds up if you load the baskets full of stuff. This is probably the most models that I have ever done in a month. And obviously this last one took me most of the time. And I'm really happy of the results that I got. This organizer has this feature where you can take off these different plates. I'm not sure how useful it is, but I had a vision and I executed on that. I'm surprised how well I managed to execute this impossible task. So that's it for now. Bye!